I somehow made it through the mountain to another settlement. From there I went to Toyama and fled to Tokyo. Well, we finally have the truth of what happened with Ayato, and yeah, that was pretty crazy. Really, I mean, it's almost like can you blame Ayato for losing his shit and just killing her because of what she was doing? I don't know. But at the same time, it's like Ayato could have just I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because, you know, in that situation, it's really like the heat of the moment. You know, you don't know what to do, and you just lose your shit and you know, lose your temper, and that can result in some pretty terrible things. But really, what Ayato should have done was just, instead of burying what he found, he should have just taken it to the police. Now, he would have gotten in trouble for it, and, you know, especially because after what he just did, he definitely would have faced prison time for murder. But, you know, at least he would have probably, well, hopefully at least, you know, actually been able to give the police evidence in regards to the case. But you could also argue that maybe the Hinagami family would have, you know, gotten involved and pressured the police to not investigate it. So there's always that possibility. So it's pretty complicated, this situation that's going on in the village, as we've come to understand. So it might not have been as easy as Hayato just running to the police with that evidence and, you know, them investigating that place in the at the Shigusa Shrine. You know, I don't know. It's like, maybe if Aito were to show them that place, then it would make things a little bit more complicated for the Hinagamis to just, you know, pressure the police into not investigating. But it's hard to say what would have happened. But you could also, you know, it makes sense. Aito just wasn't really thinking at the moment, and all he was thinking about was running away and not having to deal with the aftermath of what would happen if they found out that he had killed Saya and run away with severed arms in a box or whatever, severed arms and legs. So yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable, but he probably could have potentially solved the entire case right then and there had he made the proper decisions or the right decisions. But yeah, now, you know, we pretty much have to deal with the results of his actions on that day. I somehow made it through the mountain to another settlement. From there I went to Toyama and fled to Tokyo. Misaki Hinagami Aito concludes his story. Is that when you started calling yourself Misaki Tomoyuki? Well, you need money to survive. I obtained a family register and a pension. That's fraud, isn't it? Well, he'd already probably be going to prison for murder, which he just admitted to, and now he probably might go to prison for fraud, too. How's he gonna get out of this clean? Like, I don't think he will. Misaki stands up and holds his hands out to the silent Yaginuma. Murder and fraud, and a few other offenses, I'm sure. Please arrest me. Huh. Yaginuma snorts and looks at me. I just shrug. Why should I have to go to the trouble? I'm not even on those cases. Huh? What benefit would there be in arresting someone for some old backwater case like that? And I can't say whether or not it even happened at this point. But Of course, I'll arrest you all you want if you confess to the murder of Takamiya Meguri. So basically, Yaginuma was like, hey, that's not in my jurisdiction. I don't have to worry about that. I mean, I don't know. I'd be surprised if they didn't know that Aito pretty much killed Saya. I mean, at least the police in that jurisdiction must know. So, I mean, I feel like if he went back there, he'd probably be arrested. Misaki is forced into silence. Looks like he doesn't intend to confess to Takamiya Meguri's murder, no matter what. Well, he didn't murder her, so he's probably not going to confess to it. Well, it's clear what he's been hiding now, and his connection to Takamiya Meguri and Kuriya Naori makes sense too. There would be no point in continuing to play innocent. Hey moron, you're not still defending the true culprit this late in the game, are you? Misaki gasps ever so slightly. Somebody visited the hotel that day who you didn't want to see. That's why you escaped from the back exit, to avoid meeting them. Is that about right? If the murder occurred afterward, that person was likely the murderer, but the front desk wasn't aware of anyone visiting after you. It was probably someone close enough to her to know her room number without asking the front desk. If that person knew Hinagami Aito, they were probably someone from the Hitagata settlement. You seem to have someone in mind, senpai. I've made some new acquaintances, after all. Well, Hinagami Aito, this is who you saw at the hotel, isn't it? Oh boy. Hinagami Karen, Koreanauri, Sawashiro Nanako. Yeah, pretty sure it was Nanako. Masaki gives me a pretty obvious reaction. I see. I've driven him into a corner. Nah, he's just fundamentally bad at lying. Living with a fake name for almost 10 years has probably put a heavy psychological burden on him. Perhaps that's the reason he started going to the hospital in the first place. Is Sawashiro Nanako in Tokyo? She's working at the Kuchiki Hospital as a nurse, it seems. Huh? Masaki raises his head. She was at the hospital? In a different ward, but yes. You really never met? You were going there for a long time, right? I hadn't noticed. I'm sure she had, though. From Masaki's reaction, he definitely seems to have seen Sawashiro Nanako, but... Yaginuma, what was the victim's estimated time of death? Did you forget? It was around 8 p.m. on December 20th. There was room for about a half an hour's error each way. In other words, between 7:30 and 8:30. Sawashiro Nanako worked the night shift beginning at 8 p.m. that day. I didn't hear anything about her being late. It would have been possible for her to get to Nakano from Ochanomizu in 30 minutes, wouldn't it? If all she had to do was get there, yes, I can't see that happening while waiting for the train and preparing for work before clocking in. And to add to the complications, there was all that work done on the corpse. Sawashiro Nanako wouldn't have been able to set up the scene like that. Let me verify one more time, Masaki. The one you saw at the hotel was definitely Sawashiro Nanako, right? Yes, I saw her. Then I left through the back door. Masaki nods honestly, perhaps because he sensed that Sawashiro Nanako couldn't have committed the crime. But if that's the case, then... Someone else visited after Sawashiro Nanako, I suppose. That's all I can figure if she did get to the hospital on time. At the very least, someone else would have to have been there to set up the crime scene. I suppose we should go apprehend Sawashiro Nanako then. It's highly likely that she didn't commit the murder, but she's still a material witness. I'll go and talk to her, but first... I grab Masaki's shoulder. Huh? If you've got anything else you're hiding, go ahead and spit it out now. It'll be a pain to figure it out later. Ugh. There's seriously still more? Oh dear, looks like I'll have to interrogate him. At least he didn't say torture. Something tells me Yaginuma wouldn't mind that. He'd be totally open to doing that. That left arm of yours, you attempted suicide, but what was the impetus for that? You were on the run, but I can't imagine it was a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was because she found me, Nanako-san. The Hinagami family had asked her to look for me. As a friend from the same village? I didn't think she'd be working in that hospital, but she found me and I was told to go back to succeed the family. Thus, I chose to die. It's too simplistic. Or was he really feeling that psychologically concerned? Why was Sawashiro Nanako looking for you instead of the Hinagami family? Hinagami Karen is here too. I don't know. She could have just spotted me by coincidence. If you were supposed to return to succeed the family, were there plans for you to marry? There was an arranged marriage planned, yes. Those people were only concerned about carrying on the Hinagami bloodline after all. Were you supposed to be marrying Sawashiro Nanako? No, I don't know. This was before I heard any of the details. Masaki holds down his left wrist. Did Sawashiro Nanako say anything while you were in the hospital? No, nothing. I haven't spoken with her since I woke up. Perhaps she was being considerate. Yaginuma nods to himself like he has any idea what the word considerate means. He is, definitely not that. I'll ask her about that. I give Masaki a little slap on the back and stand him up. Huh? Me too? You don't mind, do you, Yaginuma? It's not like he's arrested or anything. As long as you make sure he doesn't run away. I leave the interrogation room with Masaki, Yaginuma's irritated words behind us. I'm actually kind of shocked that Aito isn't actually going to prison. At least not here he's not going to prison. If only it were that easy to get to get people out, you know, just to take people out of the jailhouse, even if they're facing, you know, potentially facing murder charges. But to be fair, they don't have evidence of that, so they can't just hold him there until they actually obtain that evidence, at least. I guess if they, you know, yeah, I guess if they had evidence, it'd be a different story. But because all they have is his confession, it's like, well, there's not really anything but that to hold him on. I take Miyakazaka from the Metropolitan Police Department to Shinjuku Road. I can't believe you decided to go to that hospital, though. I didn't know it was run by a relative of the Kurias. I'd met him a long time ago, but I didn't remember his surname. Kuchiki Fumiya and Chizuru's mother's maiden name was Kuriya, and their mother was Kuriya Naori's mother's sister. And Naori's father Yuzuru is Aito and Kauden's father Shizuru's brother. The Kuchiki and Hinagami families are relatives on both sides of the Kuriya family. I started going there about 2 years ago. It was recommended to me by someone else for having a good psychiatrist. Sawashiro Nanako works part-time in the pediatrics ward, so it's not too surprising that you didn't see each other, I suppose. But Sawashiro Nanako found Masaki, Aito. She probably knew right away that he was using a fake name. She told the Hinagami family without informing the hospital. Even if they were acquaintances, he was a criminal on the run. There were plenty of other things she should have done first. Tokisaki-san! The road! I come back to myself when I hear Masaki's voice. Whoops. I narrowly avoid a streetcar. Holy shit. Guess I was driving on the Toden tracks for a moment there. Watch where you're driving, please! Don't worry, I used to drive over the Marco Polo Bridge with my eyes closed. That's not very reassuring. Don't lie to me. Jesus Christ, he just about killed them both. Parking the car in the Kuchiki Hospital lot, I pick up my case documents and step outside. Please don't drive so recklessly. Masaki gets out of the car warily. I obeyed the speed limit and the traffic lights, didn't I? That's right, should I keep calling you Masaki, or... Yeah, I'm used to it now. Please keep calling me that. Guess he wants to keep hiding his identity as best as he can. Though it might be pointless, as we're about to go meet with someone who knows Hinagami Aito. We enter the hospital and head toward Dr. Yamanouchi's room. Come in. Excuse us. I've been waiting for you, Tokisaka-san, and Masaki-san. Hello. Masaki gives her a small nod. I'll go get Sawashiro-san. Please have a seat and wait just a minute. Before that, Dr. Yamanouchi, did Sawashiro-san arrive on time to her night shift on the 20th? Yes, I believe. She was here before 8. I see. Thank you. Of course. Koharu leaves the room. And now, we wait. I sit down on the couch and invite Masaki to do the same. Right. Masaki sits down next to me. We sit silently for a while. When did she come here? Why don't you ask her? All I've heard is that it had something to do with her parents. I'm pretty sure Nanako-san's father was a mining engineer, and when I lived there, he was too unhealthy to work. He probably found a place to work in Tokyo. Things were a little busy with the reconstruction and manpower shortages after the war. You think so? Seems like Masaki isn't satisfied with that explanation. There weren't very many pleasant rumors about him. He would spend the money she earned working on gambling and drinking, and I've heard all sorts of things about the trouble she had to deal with at home. Just when I'm about to open my mouth, the door opens and Koharu walks in with the nurse. Thank you for waiting. Wow. The only thing that changed about her is her hair is down now. Or her hair got longer, at least. So you're Sawashiro-san. I've seen her a few times before in the hospital. She stopped in the doorway, staring at Masaki's face. Aito-kun. It's been a while. Masaki bows his head. I've heard a lot about you from him. Please, have a seat. Okay. Nanako sits down on the couch opposite ours. I'll excuse myself then. Koharu leaves the room. Could you tell me about when you found him first? I ask her, indicating Masaki next to me. I heard about him from a coworker first. It wasn't anything important, but I went to see who she was talking about, and realized that he was Aito-kun right away. At the time, as he does now, he went by the name of Masaki Tomoyuki. What did you think about that at the time? I thought he changed his name because the surname Hinagami would stand out too much. Hinagami Pharmaceuticals is in Tokyo, after all. I glance over at Masaki. He's listening to Nanako with his eyebrows furrowed. So she didn't think he was on the run using a fake name after killing Shiyu Sasaya. Wait a minute. There's something I didn't consider. He's a Hinagami. They don't want him to be arrested. Why would they? Yeah. They covered it up. Why wouldn't they cover it up? They don't want him to be arrested. He's a son of the Hinagamis. Why would they want him arrested for murder? Oh my god. Aito this whole time has been on the run, thinking that, trying to escape potentially being arrested when he probably never would have been. They would have found out and they would have covered it up. And they would have told the village basically just to forget about it because it's Hinagami Aito. He's a very special person in the village because of who he's related to, his bloodline. They wouldn't want him arrested for murder. Why didn't I even think about that? Apparently, Aito didn't even think about that for years. I just thought about that. I'm like, yeah, there's no way. He's too important. They wouldn't want him to be arrested. He needs to continue the bloodline. I probably shouldn't ask about that yet. So you told my father? Yes, I had to. Then they told me not to approach Aito-kun, and they began preparing for his arranged marriage. Were you supposed to avoid approaching him to prevent him from fleeing? Nanako gives a small nod. They told me Aito-kun left because he didn't want to succeed the family. Oh, so either they're lying or they're lying. They're definitely lying. And what about Saya-san? I'm predicting Nanako's going to be confused. She's not going to know why he brought that up. Masaki asks the question I've been avoiding. Yes, Saya-san died shortly after you left, but was that related? Oh shit! I was right. I'm totally right. I know I'm right. I'm not even 99%, I'm 100% sure that's what's happening. What? I signal for Masaki to stop talking. Sawashiro-san, how did Saya-san die? I heard it was an illness. Heart failure. Oh, shit. Nanako answers. She didn't really seem to believe it as she spoke. Who performed the autopsy? I continue asking questions, my hand on Masaki's knee to keep him quiet. The director of the Korea clinic was caring for her when she died. I wasn't present. I fold my arms and think. It's undeniable that Shigusa Saya died. But this contradicts Masaki's, Hinagami Aito's testimony. If I'm to believe Hinagami Aito's word, then they covered up her death as an illness. Yup. Then it makes sense that Takemiya Meguri hadn't seemed particularly concerned about it. She would have hesitated to meet with a murderer, even if they had been childhood friends. Though Sawashiro Nanako seems to have some doubts about Shigusa Saya's cause of death. When this dolt absconded, was there an uproar in the settlement? Yes, of course. The whole settlement searched for him. Someone saw him at the foot of the mountain, so we all thought he'd headed down the mountain and gone somewhere, but... I'm sorry for all the trouble. Masaki hangs his head. No, I was relieved to find you alive. I feel terrible about Meguri-chan, though. Nanako hangs her head as well. How much do you know about what happened to Takemiya-san? Just that she died. I heard she was murdered right after I went to see her. That's right. Did you notice anything unusual about her that night? No, not particularly. She seemed to have given up on the marriage. To this guy? I point at Masaki beside me. You mean this loser? I told her that I had no intent of marrying and going back to the Hinagami family. I believe you knew that too, Nanako-san. Do you think they'd be satisfied with that answer? No, but... Masaki looks down. Who were you receiving your instructions from, Sawashiro-san? From Aito-kun's father, Shizuru-san. I believe he was choosing Aito-kun's marriage partners as well. It wasn't my grandfather? Hideyomi-san has been confined to his bed for a while now. That's probably why he wants to make sure he has a successor soon. Grandpa's... I see. Is Hinagami Shizuru-san in Tokyo? Yes. His corporate headquarters is in Yotsuya, though I believe the main office is in Toyama. I should leave that to Yaginuma and ask some more questions here. Please tell me anything you might know about Takemiya Meguri-san's murder. Like I said earlier, I went to see her just before it happened, but I didn't notice anything particularly out of the ordinary. Nanako turns her gaze to me as she speaks as if observing my reaction. We don't suspect you, so please don't worry. We've confirmed that you were working here at the time of the murder. I see. She, doesn't seem particularly relieved by this. It doesn't change the fact that a friend of hers is dead. Did she mention plans to meet with anyone after you? No, nothing like that. If that's the case, then she had an unexpected visitor or someone broke in. But judging from what was left at the scene of the crime, it wasn't anything like a burglar. I take some pictures out of a folder of documents. It's the color photos forensics took. I put the photos that clearly show the state of the body back in the folder and show Nanako a picture of one of the articles left at the scene. Does this look familiar to you? Nanako gasps when she sees the lump of earth that had been stuffed into the stomach of the victim. It was left at the scene of the crime. Was there anything like this in the room when you were there? I ask her without giving any of the details. You showed me this before. Hina-sama. Huh? Why is the curse happening outside of the village? The curse? What do you mean? I hadn't expected this response. Huh? This is Hina-sama? Misaki gasps just like she did as he looks at the picture. I'm sure. The shape is a little different, but it was the same with Kawase-san. This was inside Maguri-chan's stomach, wasn't it? Yes, that's right, but he didn't seem to know this was something called Hina-sama. I glare over at Misaki. I know it's enshrined in the Hinagami household shrine, but I've never seen it. It was strictly forbidden by my grandparents. Misaki shakes his head. So she was killed by the curse? Misaki. She was killed by a human being. Don't forget that. The same goes for Kamizono Mayo and Itose Mizuki. They were killed by human hands masquerading as a curse. To think the mystery of the clay dolls would be connected to Misaki, to the Hinagamis like this. There's no way this is a coincidence. This case is occurring around this adult. Excuse me, but where was Kamizono Mayo-san from? Kamizono-san? Tokyo, I believe. Then are you familiar with a woman named Itose Mizuki? No, I haven't heard the name before. Though they were killed and identified as Hina-sama's curse in the Hitogata settlement in Toyama, I still can't see how the previous victims are related to the case. He told me that Hina-sama curses those who worship it improperly, but is this legend so widespread? I ask both of them. No, I've never heard anything about it outside of the settlement. I've never even been told what the proper way to worship it is. I think only the people at the top of the Hinagami and Chigusa families know. What's important is how far the legend of Hina-sama has spread. No one would try to worship it if they didn't know what it was. If it was worshipped properly, it would grant any wish. Nothing could possibly be that convenient. It was probably a story the Hinagami ancestors had spread to raise their family status. If the story hasn't spread outside the settlement, then the perpetrator must be from there. If Hina-sama is worshipped improperly, the worshipper is cursed. In other words, those who were cursed to have been worshipping Hina-sama. If the thing stuffed inside of them was the improperly worshipped Hina-sama, then... But there's no way Takamiya Meguri would have had one with her in her hotel in Tokyo. It would be different if she had been carrying it around with her, but I'm sure that the culprit planted it there. Someone's going around killing people and passing it off as the curse. Going by Misaki's story, the people at the Chigusa Shrine are suspicious, but... Were the incidents that occurred in the settlement solved? I didn't hear anything about them being solved when I was there. Is it past the statute of limitations by now? If no actions were taken to extend the statute, it would have expired last spring. But all that means is the murderer can no longer be punished by law. It doesn't mean the murders didn't happen. The culprit of those murders could be involved with these ones. It wouldn't be impossible. But why would there be so much time in between murders? I gaze at Misaki next to me. Because of this guy? I suppose you could think of it like this. The curse didn't occur while Hinagami Ayato was away. I'm starting to get the feeling that it would be quicker to just arrest this guy. I bet Yaginuma is thinking the same thing. Is that all you need? I have to get back to work. You're right. That's about all I wanted to ask. So they're occurring because of Ayato, but what does Ayato have to... I'm just confused, but why? That's what I'm wondering. We should probably head back too. Right. We head into the hallway. Misaki turns his head, noticing something. I turn my head in the same direction and find a familiar-looking girl in hospital garb walking toward us. Oh. Hey, Michiru. I greet her, and she does an about-face. Shirosaki-san, it's time to take your temperature. No running now. Nanako catches her before she can run away. Is she a patient here? Misaki asks me. What do you think? I'm sorry to make a scene. Nanako bows her head, Michiru in her grasp. Who's that? Michiru asks, looking up at Misaki. He's a bad guy. Oh. Michiru backs up a few steps. Please don't introduce me in such a terrible way. Hey, I wasn't lying. We leave the hospital and return to the car. So that was Hina-sama. You've seriously never seen it before? If I had, I would have realized it when you showed me the real thing. Man, you really didn't peek inside the household shrine when you were a kid? I definitely would have. That's just how strictly I was disciplined. Who knows the most about that clay doll, about Hina-sama? My grandparents and probably the people at the Shigusa shrine. Put it another way, everybody else only knows that it exists. It's highly probable that the culprit is among those people. And if he isn't, he must be someone deeply involved with them. Guess all we can do is go ask them. Today is December 22nd. There's just a little more than a week left of the year. With a few days for preparation, we could probably leave and be back within the year. We could take this car. No, it'd be smarter not to. I'm not confident about driving along snowy mountain paths. Guess we'll be taking the overnight train. That's the plan then. Huh? What is? I'll tell you later. Get in the car. We're going back to the MPD. I'll have to bring him too. But I bet, no, I'm sure he won't want to. Oh shit, we're going back to Hitogata again. I don't want to. Sure enough, Masaki shakes his head, refusing to take the trip with me. I expected as much, but I'll need a guide, and I'll stand out as an outsider alone in this isolated settlement, right? I'm practically an outsider myself at this point. Then I'll have to have somebody else protect you, keep watch on you basically. Want him to do it? I point at Yaginuma when he shows up with perfect timing. That would be even worse. And he's right about that. Why do I get the feeling I'm being insulted? We were just talking about how passionate you are about your work. Very well. So you want to go to Toyama? Yaginuma runs his eyes over Masaki. I'm counting on you to make sure he doesn't escape. Don't worry about it. You think he's gonna run into his family's house? It's his family's house that he was running from in the first place. Apparently, someone from the Toyama Prefectural Police has been investigating the case. Please speak with him. Inui-san? I think that was his name. He's a pest who's continued to investigate the case even after he was ordered to stop. Seems like he would be a pest to his superiors. Quite. He nods at me with a completely serious look on his face. When are you leaving? We'll leave in 2 or 3 days. There's some preparation to be done before then. I understand. Well then, please try to keep the trouble to a minimum, senpai. Don't worry, I pride myself on my good judgment. I drop Masaki off in Shinjuku and return home. I need to organize the things I learned from his testimony and do a few things to prepare for our trip. It's going to be a tedious next few days. I'm home. Welcome back, Nissan. Dinner's ready. Oh, nabe today? Yes, it was cold today, wasn't it? Go and change. Sure. Could you heat up some sake for me? Of course. I return to my room and remove my coat. It's pretty cold in here since it's been empty for so long. I decide to get back to the living room right away. Here you are. I'm handed a bowl of food. A pot that's just been taken off the heat sits on the table. It's chicken and vegetables boiled in stock. It's hot, so please be careful. Don't worry about me. Oh, that's right. I'm going to be taking a trip soon. I thought I'd let you know sooner rather than later. Oh, where? I haven't quite decided yet, but... Then could you wait until the 25th or after? There's Christmas Eve. You want to do something? I'd like to invite some people over for a little party. Well, that won't be a problem if I use tomorrow and the day after to prepare. And I'd like to invite Masaki-san too. I guess it'd be pretty sad to make him spend the night in the office alone on Christmas Eve. Alright, I'll tell him. Thank you. Should I buy presents? I consider the expenses for the trip to Toyama and the number of people who will probably be at the party. I should probably restrain myself. Ueno Station the week before the New Year is pretty crowded, but the place where we've chosen to meet is completely open as usual. You're late. Aoki Toji waits in front of the lopsided cart, looking displeased. Sorry, I was organizing the info I've collected. I hand over an envelope with the documents inside. So this clay doll was a god somewhere, huh? I'm gonna go to the source for more details on that. Pinning the envelope under her left armpit, Toji skillfully takes the papers out with one hand. Hina-sama, huh? This isn't related to the Blessed Congregation? I can't say with confidence that they're unrelated yet, but I doubt the Blessed Congregation was involved in Itose Mizuki's death. I don't think you should jump to any conclusions there. I know, that's why I want you to keep up your investigation. I don't mind, but I'm trying to figure out the source of their income right now. It seems like they're making a lot of money somehow, and I don't think any miracles are involved. It's not donations from the faithful? Senri made money with a seer in the past, though I guess they could have some wealthy members. Wherever there's money, there's greed. It's a motive for murder, too. Aren't you the one who just said you didn't think they were involved? But since I can't jump to conclusions, I need to consider other possibilities, right? Exactly. In a few days, I'll go to Toyama to look for the clay dolls. Sorry, but I'll leave everything here to you when I do. Wait, did you say Toyama? Toji suddenly grabs my arm. Yeah, is there something there? Of course there is. There's echo miso, high in water and salt content and perfect for fish dishes. Uh-huh. Toji goes off on the spiel. Could you get me a box? Just a small one is fine. There are probably a lot of shops in Toyama City or Takeoka. Well, if it's just a souvenir, sure. I owe you for this. If you have time, could you look into places I could order from in addition to wherever you buy it? She's way more passionate about this than her work, I'm sure of it. Phew. Yaginuma finishes looking over the large stack of materials he called for and stretches a little. He's in his office in the 1st Investigation Division, where he'd been since he was transferred to the Metropolitan Police Department. He puts his leg up on his superintendent's desk and sips some cold tea. Most of the investigators in the 1st Division are out. It's not because it's the end of the year. It's simply natural. Their job isn't sitting at a desk. There are many incidents in addition to the Masaki Tomiyuki case. They can't just concentrate on one. Nonetheless. This is so strange, he says to himself, the documents before him. It's information on Hinagami Pharmaceuticals, which they believe to be involved now that Masaki Tomiyuki's identity has come to light. He's had his investigators check whether or not anything was suspicious about them, but... 7 in the last 10 years, huh? That was the number of deaths among their employees. They were all due to illness or accident, nothing crime-related. But there were also reports of young people dying sudden deaths and employees dying only a few months after joining the company. As accidents, quote-unquote. As there was information from just after the war included and the company had a large amount of employees, it wasn't enough to declare it an unusual number of deaths. But the problem isn't the number. It's the name among the deceased. Itose Satoru. He was Itose Mizuki's father. He died in 1952. His cause of death was filed as illness. Itose Satoru worked in the research laboratory at the pharmaceutical company. Deaths within Hinagami Pharmaceuticals. It's just a hypothesis, but he imagines there were even more before and during the war. There are simply no records remaining. That's the feeling he has. He looks at the records on Hinagami Pharmaceuticals' business dealings. He understands that they've been producing many new drugs since before the war. Production continued after the amendments to the Pharmaceutical Affairs Law in 1943, and most of the drugs they made after that were supplied to the army. It's not unusual that their drugs were supplied to the army during the war. They were probably developing them jointly with a military medical college. There are rumors of organizations performing strange experiments similar to those of the Army's Noborito laboratory. It's definitely possible that they have ties with something like that. After all, Yotsuya, where the Hinagami Pharmaceuticals Tokyo office is located, is a stone's throw from Ichigaya, the location of the Army's General Staff Office. Human experiments? No. Clinical studies. The possibility comes to mind. The clinical trials that are conducted to test the effectiveness of new drugs. There was all sorts of talk on the development of biological weapons during the war. How many were sacrificed in the course of that development? Maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. But now that the idea has occurred to him, he'll have to look into it. You there! Yaginuma beckons over a young detective who's still in the office. Do you need something, Superintendent? I want you to look into Hinagami Pharmaceuticals. And... He holds out his teacup to the detective standing at attention. Make me some tea, piping hot. God, he might be a jackass, but at least he's trying to do his job. At least he's trying to get he's trying to get stuff done. I've come to the residential district near Inokushira Park for the first time in a while. A short ways in, there's a building that used to be a medical clinic, the Kuchiki residence. It's been a little over a year since I was here last. I ring the bell at the door and wait a little while. I've been expecting you. Hello. We exchange brief greetings. As I said on the phone, my father isn't here, but please come in. I follow Chizuru inside. So you're going to Toyama? Chizuru asks while she makes tea. Yes, I've heard you went before the war. I did. Chizuru looks up and gazes out at the setting sun outside. It was only for a short while, but several things happened. She opens a box of letters next to her and takes out an envelope. This is a letter to the couriers. May I entrust it to you? I'll make sure to deliver it. I accept the envelope. Have you given up on Toko yet? I freeze for a moment at those words. Of course I haven't. We know they haven't left Kanto at least. But even then, with her body like that, she... Your father said that there was a possibility she could survive with the right care from a doctor. Of course, there was probably still a limit to what a doctor could do. I have no right to stop you. Chizuru shakes her head. Do as you like. I intend to. I know I'm just doing this for my own satisfaction, but even if there's no hope for her survival, I still want to find Toko. Yeah, anyway, it'll be the 25th, the night train leaving from Ueno. I'll bring the tickets to you tomorrow, so please reimburse me then. What? I think I'm breaking up. We can take the cost out of your pay, right? I know you heard me, you... I can't hear him, so I hang up the phone. God, what an ass. He just treats him like total shit. I'm sure you haven't paid Masaki-san once yet. Damn. That's even worse. Guess Yukari heard me. I was joking, of course. I guess you heard me, but we're leaving on the 25th at night, okay? Okay, I understand. Your suitcase should be in the closet. Right, I'll leave that to you. I return to my room and pull my leather suitcase out of my closet. I open it just to make sure there isn't mold growing in it or anything. It doesn't smell, so it's probably fine. We haven't decided when we're coming back yet, though I intend on returning within the year, so maybe about a week. If I leave it to Yukari, she'll pack stuff for me. Nissan, I'm coming in. The door opens and Yukari walks in with the laundry. Please bring clean underwear. And these shirts are new, so you can bring them. And for your handkerchief... I was hoping you'd pack for me. It's your own trip, Nissan. Shouldn't you pack it for yourself? I can't fit it all in the bag when I do it. It's because you're so sloppy outside of work, Nissan. Is it because I'm type O? I'd like to deny the practice of dividing personalities by blood types, but Yukari's type A and she's very methodical. Very well. I'll have it done by morning the day after tomorrow, so please fold these yourself, okay? Yukari says, indicating the mountain of laundry. Just leave them there. I'll get around to it later. I'm sure you will. She's on to me. Very well. I'll fold them. So could you bring my futon over, Nissan? Yeah, I can do that. For some reason, Yukari's futon is in the closet in my room. She's got a closet in her room too, but... I carry the futon to Yukari's room. My arms are full, so I dump it without turning on the lights. This room is spooky as always. At a glance, it looks suitable for a girl her age. But then there are those rustling noises in her closet. It's winter now, so I wonder what she's keeping in there. I know she's got a bunch of bug larvae, but they wouldn't make noise and move around, would they? Nissan? I turned around to find Yukari standing there giving me a dubious look, having turned the lights on. Don't look in there, dude. There, you probably don't want to see what's inside. Hey, Yukari, what's inside the closet? I ask her timidly, pointing at the door. The same thing as always. That's what I'm afraid of. There was a noise, though. A noise? Yukari tilts her head, then walks briskly over to the closet. Beyond the door is a collection of glass tanks filled with dirt. These things are why Yukari's futon is in my closet. The stag and rhinoceros beetles don't look like they've matured to adulthood yet. Those things had better not be flying around after December. The ants don't look like they've come outside either. Don't you dare let those ones escape, okay? Why does she collect bugs? Why does she have to collect bugs? Jesus Christ. I would be freaking out. I'm like, we need to set we just need to burn these things with fire. Just burn it down. Burn them all. By the time I wake up, it's already past noon. Ugh. Last night I packed my clothes, organized my files, read a little, sipping some Shoujo, and I guess I fell asleep like that. There's a paperback lying next to my pillow. There's no bookmark in it, so I have no idea how much I read. Guess I'll just have to start over at the beginning. Oh Jesus, fuck that. I enter the living room, rubbing my still sleepy eyes. Yukari, got anything to eat? Oh, good morning. Yeah, morning. I plop down on the couch and look forward. Ayamu's here. Is something wrong, Tokisaka-sensei? No. Nissan, please wake up already and get changed. We have a guest, you know. Yukari comes out of the kitchen. Really, you still have bedhead and your robe is wide open. How shameful. Oh, sorry. I come to my senses and return to my room, flustered. I see, so she came to help set up the Christmas thing. But, I look down at myself. Those blockheads could have said something. Okay, just how open was his robe? Can you see, like, everything? Is that how open it was? I get changed and return to the living room. Looks like Yukari and Ayamu are in the kitchen. Instead, I find coffee and toast laid out on the table. I can eat this, right? Well, hopefully it doesn't have bugs in it. It'd be embarrassing to get yelled at, but it'd be just as embarrassing to go ask. Down the hatch. I devour it all before I'm discovered. I think while I drink my after-meal coffee. Come to think of it, I haven't bought any presents. Bro, it's Christmas Eve and you haven't bought anything? Come on, what the fuck? So he's gonna do some last-minute shopping, I suppose. Guess I should go do that now. Hey Yukari, who's coming today? I direct my question to the kitchen. Santo-san's already here, so Kayahara-san and Kohane, and Masaki-san. Well, I know all of them, so that's fine. Kyoko-san said she was too busy with her shop to come. Well, I guess I don't need to get anything from Masaki. I'm gonna head out for a bit. Alright, please don't stay out too late. I know, don't worry. I don my coat and head outside. There's no need to take the car if I'm going to Kichijoji. I walk the snowy streets carefully, making sure I don't slip. After a little while, I reach Kichijoji Station, but damn it. I felt someone watching me from behind the whole trip. I looked behind me discreetly a few times, but it seems my tail is unused to this and she was clearly visible each time. Well, she did say she wanted to be my assistant. I could just lose her in the crowd at the station, but with such an obvious tail, other people would probably be suspicious. Oh, well, we already know who that is then, if the assistant thing pretty much gave it away. Having no choice, I stop and turn around. I didn't even have to lure her down a side street. She's just standing there in front of me. You're awful at this. I'll have to practice. You don't have to. I didn't want to bother you while you were working. I didn't come out here for work. Guess she's misunderstanding things. Why'd you follow me, Sato-san? Because I saw you leave. Oh, I got permission from Senpai first, of course. Guess you didn't need permission from me. Yeah, that's not important. So, what are you investigating? I'm not working right now. I'm just doing a little shopping. Uh-huh. That's code, right? What are you buying? Information? Oh my god. I think she reads a little bit... She reads too many detective novels. She seems intent on keeping this charade going. She's been saying for a while now that she wants to be a detective's assistant. I'm here to buy presents for today. I'd completely forgotten about it until now. She leaves me little choice, so I give her my real objective. Is today someone's birthday? Yep, and it's celebrated all over the world. Technically, I guess that's tomorrow. Christmas presents. I'm getting one for you too, Sato-san. I see. Doesn't Santa bring the presents, though? Huh? She couldn't. She still believes in Santa at this age. Oh my god. How naive is she? She looks pretty grown up, and I know she's actually younger than Yukari, but... That's when you're home, right? Mine are different. I mean, I couldn't just crush her dreams, right? Uh-huh. I see. Okay, I think she bought that. Well, if you're gonna get one, it'd be better if it was something you wanted. Anything you want? Me? Ayamu blinks. Nothing in particular, but... I don't miss the glance she sends to a nearby store. Well, that's no good. I fold my arms and approach the store. There's a bunch of hats on display outside. Guess she wants one of these. Ayamu follows me. A hat that'd look good on a girl with short hair. A straw hat, baseball cap, deer stalker, what the... Oh yeah, a deer stalker. I think this would look good on you. I pick up a deer stalker with a simple design. Just like Holmes, huh? That's probably the novel she's been reading. Something like that. It'd be perfect with a pipe in your mouth. I put the hat on Ayamu's head. I think it suits her. Why can't we see it? Why? I want to see it. It might look better with a different coat. Wouldn't that just make it a disguise? Aimu takes the hat off and returns it to its previous place. I prefer this. She picks up a piece of cloth on a nearby shelf. A handkerchief, huh? I thought she was looking at the hats, but I guess I was a little off. I don't know anything about those, so you go ahead and pick one. Very well. I stand behind Aimu and watch over her while she gazes at the handkerchiefs lined up before her. It'd be better for her to pick out something she likes than have someone like me choose for her. Though I'm not quite sure if I can really call it a present in that case. Tokisaka-sensei. Aimu turns to me holding several handkerchiefs for some reason. I'm gonna have to choose after all? God damn it. I'd like this one. She indicates the red handkerchief among them. And the rest? They're presents for everyone else, since it seems like you'll have trouble deciding and all. I don't really have a comeback for that. This one's for Tokisaka-senpai, and these are for Tori-senpai and Kayahara-senpai, and your assistant is coming too, right? I suppose I would be his senpai. There's a bit of an assumption there, but I won't say anything about it. Aren't there still 2 extra? This one's for you, Tokisaka-sensei, and Hazuki-san at Moonworld too. Well then. I'll go back now. Please take a little detour before you come home, sensei. I'm no match for you. I scratch my head. She'd be a way better assistant than Masaki. Unfortunately, he's probably right about that. Parting with Aimu, I make my way over to Moonworld. A Christmas present, huh? I look down at the small paper bag I'm carrying. Have I ever given her anything like that? For some reason, I'm uncharacteristically nervous. Welcome. Oh. Kyoko's all alone in the shop. Hey. Working today too? Nah, I'm taking the day off. I'll be away for a bit tomorrow night. Oh, taking a trip? For work. I know. Kyoko makes me some coffee, smiling. Here you go. Thanks. I take a sip, savoring its rich fragrance. Where are you going? Out to Toyama. It's in the mountains, and the night train isn't even going to get there until the next night. Going by yourself? I've got an assistant. A male assistant. Did he really have to specify there? I'm not worried. I haven't said anything worrying, have I? I suppose not. I mean, can you really be cheating on her if you're not really technically even in a relationship? You're just kind of hooking up? That reminds me. Here, this is for you. I leave the bag with the handkerchief in it on the counter in front of Kyoko. Oh, a present? It is Christmas after all. I drink my coffee. How unusual. You've never done this before. Can I open it? Go ahead. Really? What is it? There's no way you picked this out, Tokisaka-kun. What makes you think that? She's right, of course. Well, 'cause... Kyoko spreads out the handkerchief. There's a big heart embroidered on it. I should probably have looked at it first, huh? That knucklehead. Thanks, Tokisaka-kun. Kyoko leans out over the counter. Oh my god. She gives me a little kiss. Well, at least you got that. At least you got that for your trouble. What are you doing today? We're having a party at our house, apparently. Yukari's all excited. Oh, that's too bad. Do you have some time before then? Yeah, I've got a little still. Oh no. No. We're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. In that case... Kyoko starts to take off her apron. Oh no. Hazuki-chan! Can I get some coffee beans? Well, okay, it seems like that's not going to happen again because we're getting cock-blocked. The door suddenly opens and Fuyumi bursts in. You know, I wonder if she knew what was about to happen and she did that on purpose. She's like, let me just cock-block this guy. Sure, I'll roast them now, so it'll take a little time. Well, the mood's dead. Kyoko goes about acting completely normal, unlike me, who's about to kick over his stupid chair. Thanks. Hey, Kayahara-san. I greet Fuyumi as she sits down next to me. Oh, the gigolo? I'm Tokisaka, the detective. Ah, right, Tokisaka-san. There's no way she remembers me. Sorry, I kind of interrupted something there, didn't I? Oh, she fucking knows. She fucking knows. Fucking troll. You were watching? I figured if I waited until you were done, the day would be over. Oh my god. That makes it even worse. What are you talking about? Kyoko asks, lighting the roaster. Nothing. My daughter's gonna be at his place today, so I just thought I'd say thanks. Ah. So she's your... If you lay one hand on my daughter, you're dead meat, got it? Holy shit. Yikes. Of course I'd never do that. Well... I do kind of know what's probably gonna happen with that. Let's just say that. My daughter's been growing pretty fast lately, though she's still nothing compared to this one over here. Oh, Jesus. What? Yeah, that'd be hard to beat. Jesus Christ. This is such an uncomfortable conversation. When did the custom of celebrating Christmas begin over here? Toji believes they were celebrating it in Ueno and Asakusa by the time she was old enough to know what it was. Of course, Toji's never celebrated it. She could never get used to the frivolous mood of the season, having been born in the slums, surrounded by violence all her life. Children clutching packages that must be Christmas presents. Couples innocently holding hands. Shop vendors in red Santa Claus outfits. All of those things were incomprehensible to Toji. Yeah, I guess who else must be feeling lonely on Christmas? Her breath comes out white on the air. She's never desired such things. I'm calling bullshit. I think deep down she does. She does. She's never yearned for them. But the snow. Toji lights a cigarette. Phew. Stop. There's no point in such thoughts now. She looks at the station clock. He should be here soon. There was no reason for them to have to meet here, though. She didn't want to, but maybe she should have gone to see him instead. Toji begins thinking that way, such is her discomfort. She'd normally never pay any mind to such thoughts. Howdy. Slightly comforted by the old man's melancholic tone, Toji turns around. Merry Christmas. I mean, at least you got him to keep you company. You too? Her head hurts. I've always been a Christian. I was even something like a priest back in the day, the old man says pointlessly. That's right. I've got some limited time offers today. Care for some? No, thanks. Toji declines right away when she sees the flyer for Holy Yaki. This is why you young folks nowadays. There's sweet cream on them too. They should be flying off the shelves. The old man gripes. She doubts age is a factor in whether or not people will want sweet takoyaki. Hey lady, you waiting for your man? It's none of your business. You're a feisty one. Someone's gonna have a holy night, alright? Oh my god, dude. That sounds really pervy. Toji clenches her fist and tries to contain her anger. She went to the trouble of changing to a respectable occupation, so she should try to refrain from violence on the streets. And she sure doesn't want to associate herself with him anymore. Toji has no idea what will happen to her if she stays here, so she moves to where she can see the station ticket gate. She puts another cigarette in her mouth. Here, a lit lighter appears next to her. You're just like a gigolo. Toji accepts the light. I never fail to be polite to ladies. Did you now? The words come out with a smoke. It starts to snow, making their surroundings even wider. That's why I've called you out here on this holiest of nights. You're the worst. Can I hit you? I'd arrest you for obstruction of justice. You're not on duty, are you? I'm always on duty. Yaginuma takes an envelope out of his inside pocket. I'd like to request an investigation into unlawful clinical trials. Are you a damn fool? Toji sighs and glares at Yaginuma. I'm sure you're aware that I'm investigating the Blessed Congregation right now. That's exactly why I'm asking you, because they're related. The father of Itose Mizuki, a victim, is involved. What do you mean? Like I'm saying, I want you to investigate. You're at a deadlock with the Blessed Congregation anyway, right? That's none of your business, Toji says bitterly while she considers it. She is at the limits of her investigation of the Blessed Congregation, true. She was ready to conclude that they were unrelated to the incidents, but something about them bothers her. And now there's this talk of unlawful clinical trials. Toji can't see the connection there yet. It's clear that Yaginuma's hiding something. He wants all the glory to himself. Of that she's sure. But Toji's not interested in fame. She doesn't mind helping her career along. First, please find out if the Blessed Congregation was involved in any illegal clinical trials. Well, I've got other stuff I'm looking into, but if you don't mind me checking it out later. Yes, that's fine. We'll continue with our own investigations in the meantime. Yaginuma agrees magnanimously and hands over the envelope. It's pretty thick. I suppose this comes with a bribe for secrecy. It's your fee for cooperating with our investigation. I don't mind you publishing whatever you find if it has something to do with what you're investigating. Which is basically the same as saying she can't publish anything that doesn't. Fair enough, I suppose. She jams the envelope into her coat pocket. I'll think of it as a Christmas present from up top. Ah, that's right. There's a receipt inside as well, so if you could fill that out and send it back, that'd be great. You're really good at demotivating people, you know that? Happy New Year! Our Christmas party begins with a mistaken shout. So Kyoko-san couldn't come after all. Yeah, I guess she does good business on Christmas Eve. I wet my lips with the wine Yukari poured me and look around the room. Everyone's introduced themselves. There are only two of them I'm a little unfamiliar with. The first is the one who gave that interesting shout, Tori Kohane. I've run into her here and elsewhere a few times. And Kayahara Yukiko. I just met her mother a little while ago, but they don't really seem that similar to me. Fuyumi's a little more friendly, of course. Yukiko's quiet even here, as if she's alone. Kayahara-san, can you eat this salad? Looks like Yukari's taking care of her. Yes, if it's just chikuwa. I look at the salad near them. There's chopped up chikuwa on it. What's your blood type, Oni-san? Kohane asks me, a magazine in her hand. It's O. You're reading fortunes? Yep, I'm A, so our compatibility is... Huh? It's not very good. Wouldn't that mean I'm incompatible with Yukari too? Fortune telling and personality division using blood types is just baseless pseudoscience. I know that, but it's fun, isn't it? Hey Yukiko-chan, what's your blood type? Kohane heads over to Yukiko. Tokisaka-san. Masaki talks to me next. What is it? Aren't we a little out of place here? 4 female students and 2 guys in their 30s, huh? Yeah, that's a little bit weird. It's a little bit creepy, actually. Don't let it bother you. Well, Reiji certainly hadn't let it bother him in the past. I empty my wine glass. And you're probably going to be drunk, too. So that's even better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. Let me pour you one, Oni-san. Kohane walks over with the bottle. Sure, thanks. Have any of you been drinking this? Maybe it is kind of weird having a student pour my drink. Masaki-san, please have some too. Yukari brings over some Shoujo. Thanks. Yeah, this is weird. Hey Masaki, come to my room for a second. We've got to talk about tomorrow. Huh? But... Oh, just shut up and follow me. I grab the scruff of Masaki's neck and some beer bottles for good measure, taking them to my room. Well, at least he got out of that situation. Yukari smirks as her brother leaves the room. Guess they couldn't stand the atmosphere. She'll have to bring them something to eat later, or maybe they'll come back for it. Hey Yukari-chi, Kohane addresses her, still holding the wine bottle. You got any meat? Okay, she's definitely had some of that to drink. There's some fried chicken over there. You're not drinking that, are you, Kohane? She asks, taking the bottle from her. It's fine. I didn't drink any. That's good then. I just licked it a little. I take it back. Yukari brings the wine to the kitchen, thinking she should probably put the alcohol away. Tokisaka-san. Yukiko follows after her. Yes? Is there anything I can do to help? Yukiko says, perhaps she's bored. Well, she thinks a little. There's still some food in the kitchen she hasn't put out yet. Could you bring this out to the room over there? She hands Yukiko a plate of sliced ham. Sure. Yukiko turns around with the plate, heading to Yukari's brother's room. Yukari sets a plate of sweets out on the living room table. Senpai? Yes? Do you have more of this? Aimu holds out an empty soda bottle to her. Yes, it's in the kitchen. Do you know where? I think I can find it. Aimu says, heading to the kitchen somewhat unsteadily. Thinking it odd, Yukari lifts up the bottle and sniffs it. It just smells like sweet soda. She decides that it was just her imagination. Uh-huh. There's not something in that soda?
Excuse me.
Yukiko opens the door and enters the neighboring room.
I've brought you some food.
Could you leave it there? Yukari's brother is in the room, alone. She doesn't see the other man. Guess it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Yukiko bows her head when he talks to her. She's not sure what to say. She's not sure what she should do. So she quickly turns her back. Oh, could you ask Yukari for a couple more beers? He asks from behind her.
Sure.
She returns to the living room, taking a deep breath. What's wrong, Yukiko-chan?
Huh? Nothing.
She shakes her head and sits down, taking a bite of the food in front of her. She doesn't really like cheese, but it doesn't taste like anything right now. Yeah, definitely getting some weird vibes from just Yukiko's interactions with Reiji. While Yukari is taking some chilled beers out of the refrigerator, Masaki passes by her.
Oh, Masaki-san.
Yes?
Could you bring these to my brother?
She hands him 2 bottles of beer. Oh, sure.
And please take this.
She hands Masaki a paper bag that was sitting in the kitchen. What's this?
It's only going to get colder, so please use it.
Okay.
Also, this is from my brother.
She gives him the bag her brother had given her earlier. From Tokisaka-san?
He must have been too embarrassed to give it to you himself. He told me to give it to you.
Even so, Yukari doesn't think there was any need for him to make her do it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please look after my brother, okay?
Actually, he's the one who's really helping me out. They both bow to each other.
That's right. Would you like to snack on these with your drinks?
She indicates a plate of hors d'oeuvres to Masaki. What are these?
You'll have to try them to find out.
They're sukudani with a secret ingredient, of course. Oh god, I'm pretty sure that secret ingredient is bugs. Yukari has a vague hope that Masaki will like them. Ugh, it's always gotta be bugs. She puts bugs in all of her food. I roll around the empty bottle while I eat some ham. Masaki sure is taking a while to get back. Maybe I should have just gotten them myself. But when I'm about to give up on him and stand up, the door opens.
Oh, it's Tokisaka-sensei.
Hey, Sato-san. Good timing. Can you get me some...
Ew.
Aimu suddenly lies down. Hey, Sato-san. Aimu lies on the floor, using my lap as a pillow. Are you drunk?
I wasn't drinking, she answers, almost sounding believable. I just had some soda with Shoujo in it.
Oh, it did have alcohol. That's called drinking.
Drunks always say they're not drunk when they're drunk, right?
I guess so.
All I'm saying is that I wasn't drinking, so I'm not drunk.
You sound exactly like a drunk.
That's common sense for a detective's assistant.
What is?
I'm fine. I'm just a little dizzy and sleepy.
Am I crazy, or is this what they call being drunk?
Good night.
Wake up! I wrap my arms around her and stand her up.
You're so rough, Sensei.
Oh god. Please give me a break here. What are you doing? And now Masaki's back. This does not look good. This does not look good. You're late, numbskull. Hey, you don't look so good. Well... Masaki sits down on a cushion and sets down 2 bottles of beer. I guess Yukari fed him something. Ants are sour, huh? Well, go ahead and take a swig to cleanse your palate. I pour some beer into Masaki's cup. I decide to ignore Aimu, who's using my lap as a pillow again.